Hi, this is Marvin Lindsay, First Presbyterian Church, and I wanted to check in with you about day 2 of our 21-day racial equity habit building challenge. I decided to do something today from the ACT category, and what I did specifically was I did something to prepare myself to interrupt racial jokes. And I watched the video that they recommended on the list, a video by a woman named Francesca Ramsey. But what do you do if you hear a racial or racist joke? This is an issue that I haven't done very well on in my life. As I watched the video, I thought about times when I was growing up when I heard racist jokes, and not just racist jokes, but just flat out racism, unfunny, like seriously racist statements. Heard a lot of it growing up in Eastern North Carolina in the 70s and 80s. Heard it from extended family members, heard it at church, heard it in school, although it was a fully integrated school, so a lot of times I heard it whispered or in all white context. And because I grew up in an integrated environment, I was aware of the disconnect between what I was hearing and what I was experiencing, but never really did much about it that I recall. And never for sure did anything about it when I was hearing it among family members or at church, because I was hearing it from people that I otherwise looked up to and respected, and was taught to respect and not to contradict. And so didn't really have many skills or the courage to confront an elder who was telling a joke at the expense of a racial minority in our culture. And so as I watched this video today, I thought about that, and I thought about how my experience of hearing racist jokes changed. As an adult, I have not heard much overt racism from the people that I've interacted with, but I do remember when I began a PhD program, I was waiting tables to make some money for the family, and I waited tables in a restaurant where there were some career servers my age, but there were also a lot of college students or young adults who were about half my age. And I would hear what Ramsey calls in the video a lot of ironic racism. Somebody would say something knowing that it was racist, I think to be provocative, knowing that I thought that it was racist, knowing that I knew that he or she knew that it was racist. And I never really knew what to do with this kind of ironic racism. It seems like after listening to Ramsey's video, watching Ramsey's video, it seems like maybe it was an effort on the part of some people to tell an offensive joke, but they actually told a racist joke. And she talks in the video, I would encourage you to watch the video, about the difference between the two. A racist joke, comes, it reinforces stereotypes and structures that keep people from achieving their full potential in society. It's a joke that comes at the expense of somebody else. And that makes it categorically different than a joke that is merely offensive or is edgy. And so after watching her video, I think I have a strategy, and it's embarrassing to me that I'm 50 years old. I didn't have a strategy before now, but I have a strategy now for dealing with racist jokes. I'm just going to say, I don't think it's funny when we tell jokes at the expense of other people. And then I'm just stating where I see it. I'm not telling that person they're racist. I'm not telling that person they don't have a good sense of humor. I'm just telling them how I see it. I don't think it's funny when we tell jokes at the expense of other people. And then they can do with that what they want to. Another thing that Ramsey says in the video is that, if this is something that you're experiencing online, maybe you don't have to deal with this. Maybe you just unfriend this person or you don't follow this person. And I have done that recently, not with the case of racist jokes, but in the case of transphobic jokes. For a long time, I've followed the Babylon Bee, which is a satirical news site that covers religion in American society. It's sort of like the religion version of The Onion, and maybe you're familiar with it. They have these kind of gently satirical takes on congregational culture. They do send-ups of well-deserved send-ups, in my opinion, of prosperity gospel preachers, of megachurch preachers that are cultivating cults of personality. They will satirize conservative evangelical theology. They'll also satirize liberal mainline theology. All that's fine. But in the last year or so, I've noticed a lot of jokes coming at the expense of transgender people, and I just have a problem with that. I have a problem with that because there's a person that's dear to me who is transgender, so I don't like it. But I don't think I'd like it anyway, even if I didn't know anybody who was trans, for the very reason that Francesca Ramsey talks about in the video. You're having fun. You're having at the expense of other people who struggle with depression, struggle with suicide, because of the intense negative thoughts and feelings that are directed toward them, sometimes by members of their own family. And that's just not funny. That's just not funny. So I stopped following the Babylon Bee. I thought about emailing them, but I decided, I don't know that that would make any difference. The email would be coming out of nowhere from somebody that they don't know. And I do have a feeling that the writers for the Babylon Bee are pretty creative people, pretty clever people. And I think in some respects, pretty good people, but this is a blind spot. And I have a feeling that they're teachable and are probably already receiving pushback from people who know them better than I do, and are maybe in a position to offer some more thoughtful and more effective insight into this. So that's how I dealt with that. I just stopped following. So I enjoyed this activity. I remember as I watched the video, I remember a couple of passages of scripture. One is that Paul the Apostle talks about speaking the truth in love. So, silence or a half-hearted but not serious laugh in the face of a racist joke for the sake of preserving the relationship probably isn't effective. I think we're called as Christians to speak the truth in love, because we do care about a better society. We care about all people's full humanity, and we care about the person who's told the racist joke. We care, and we believe that they're called to something higher, so we can, without rancor, confront that. I don't think it's funny when we tell jokes at the expense of other people. I also thought about the passage from the book of James, how great a forest fire is set by a little flame of fire, and the tongue is a fire. So, we can do so much damage when our humor is at the expense of other people. So let's learn to control our own tongues by the grace of God, and to push back against people who are out there just kind of throwing hot cinders on a dry forest floor by telling racist jokes, by telling jokes at the expense of people who are at disadvantage in our society. So that's where I am on the second day of the 21-day Racial Equity Habit Building Challenge. I'll put the link to that video in the comments below, and if you have any reflections on what you're doing today, feel free to share them in the comments. Take care, and God bless.